this is Mike from The Substream. This is Watch This Instead for the 17th of June, 2011. I want to talk about Martin Campbell, who's a cool dude. He's a director from New Zealand who made a bunch of really cool movies. He's been around for a long time. He's directed 2 Bond movies, and he's the oldest director to direct a Bond movie, and that happened a couple of years ago when he made the stylistic reboot with Daniel Craig. He also made, after that, the return to Mel Gibsonian form, the kind of underrated Edge of Darkness. And now he's directing the Green Lantern movie, which is terrible. Okay, so I don't envy anybody that has to direct a comic book movie, especially somebody that's directing a comic book movie at the end or near the end. I don't want to make any assumptions based on the fact that the guy's almost 70 years old, but at the end only in the sense that it comes at the end of a long career doing other things. I don't want to put any kind of assumptions on how hard it must be to direct normal movies and James Bond movies and thrillers and all kinds of other stuff and then have to make a crazy effects-driven superhero movie. That's almost impossible. We know it's almost impossible just based on how often these movies are actually terrible. Comic books are these things themselves, the actual things on paper, are these really kind of polarizing things, because are they for kids? No. Are they for adults? No. Are they for adults that maybe have emotional problems and have the brains of kids? Maybe. Did they used to be for kids and now they're for adults that want to be kids? It's confusing. They vacillate wildly, sometimes within the same character, depending on which book you buy, in their level of kiddiness. And it takes a huge kind of really intelligent comic person's brain to wrap their nugget around this issue of the gestalt of comics and to appreciate them as an art form, because they are really complex. So when you just kind of go, we'll just put a bunch of shit in a pot and turn some fire on underneath it, and whatever melt sludge comes out, we'll pour that in a movie. And what you get is a thing like Green Lantern. It varies wildly in tone from absolutely ridiculous, goofy, kid movie silliness to super somber responsibility and acting scenes for adults who like to deal with the psychological ramifications of having ultimate power over human destiny and life, to like goofy romance that doesn't quite work. It's a boxer with a blindfold on his face just shooting punches out. If I just punch fast enough in a million different directions, eventually I'll land enough punches that I'll score a knockout. But you don't. You look like an idiot flailing your arms around, and eventually you're going to tire out and fall over, which the movie eventually does because it stinks. It doesn't even hang together as a story. There are 2 characters that don't meet for the entire film. One hangs out in space and one's down on Earth. They don't talk. There's no scenes where they email or phone each other. And then when they do meet, with 10 minutes left in the film, they have a conversation as if they've been talking the whole time. It doesn't make any sense, and there's clearly just like a scene missing. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't flow. It doesn't even flow tonally. It's not a piece that you can just marvel at and appreciate for all its nonsense-making beauty. It's just bad, bad, bad. So what should you watch instead? Well, they kind of stole the idea of a robotic jet in one of the story strands that hangs completely loose and is never really resolved in the film from a movie called Stealth, which was written by a guy named W.D. Richter, who early in his career directed a movie called The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, which came out in 1984 and starred Peter Weller and John Lithgow and a whole bunch of other really cool people. It's just as dumb as the Green Lantern, but it's way more fun. It seems like that fun and dumbness was something that they were doing on purpose, rather than just as a side effect of not having a good script or knowing how to handle some source material that's maybe a little too challenging to be adapted. And you can watch it on Netflix. Click the Netflix thing, and we get the money.